Welcome to the AC 24/7 Top Story Countdown. We'll guide you through the biggest news of the day. Our focus, advocating our rights, advocating equality, advocating health, and advocating Earth. Here's our pick for number 4.
Economists were actually expecting the overall annual inflation to increase to 3.2% from 3.1% the month prior. So to come in at 3.4% is a little bit faster than what was predicted by economists. Still, experts say that there's really nothing wildly concerning with this latest report and that it's steady as she goes. The prices of U.S. consumer goods and services continued to rise in 2023, capping a year of progress towards reining in decades-high inflation.
Inflation increased a little bit faster than expected during the month of December, but we're still seeing progress, moving in the right direction, albeit slowly.
Federal data released Thursday shows a 3.4% increase in prices last year, down by nearly half from December 2022, when the inflation rate was at 6.5%.
2023 was a year where we saw inflation, the rate of inflation come down dramatically. Now, that doesn't mean prices are coming down, just means they're not going up as fast. But the important point is that we're now back to a situation where income is growing faster than inflation.
The economic picture for consumers is improving. The cost of food and energy have come down significantly from 2022. But many households are still struggling, especially as the cost of shelter, medical care, and motor vehicle insurance continue to rise.
They're still feeling the effects of high prices and maybe income that hasn't necessarily kept up with that, or has barely kept up, and so they haven't seen an increase in buying power.
Despite meaningful progress on inflation, Bankrate.com's Greg McBride predicts the December numbers will likely put a damper on investors' hopes of interest rate cuts by early spring.
The Fed is likely to cut rates this year, but it's probably not going to happen to the middle or back half of the year, and that too is just contingent upon us continuing to see further improvement.
McBride also says that while interest rates are holding a 22-year high, it'll take some time for people to feel slower inflation, even when those interest rates begin to come down. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
TheAdvocateChannel.com looks at the world through the lens of equality and inclusion. Subscribe, like, and share now. AC 24/7's Top Story Countdown continues with our producer's pick for number 3.
In what has become a common split screen in this presidential primary, GOP frontrunner former President Donald Trump spent his day in a New York City courtroom as the other 2024 GOP candidates were back on the trail in Iowa.
So get excited. 4 days until caucus.
You know, I'm a guy, I'm running on your issues and your family's issues and this country's issues. I'm not running for any other reason.
Ron doesn't defeat Biden. Trump is head-to-head with Biden. On a good day, he might be up by 2. In every one of those polls, I defeat Biden by double digits.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley clashing on the CNN debate stage Wednesday night, attacking one another on competency, character, and conservative convictions.
If leadership's about getting things done, how did you blow through $150 million in your campaign? We went and saved our money. We made sure we spent it right, because you have to understand it's not your money, it's other people's money, and you have to know how to handle it. If he can't handle the financial parts of a campaign, how's he going to handle the economy when it comes to the White House?
I think here's the problem. You can take the ambassador out of the United Nations, but you can't take the United Nations out of the ambassador. We don't need another mealy-mouthed politician who just tells you what she thinks you want to hear just to try to get your vote, then to get in office and to do her donors' bidding.
Trump continued his practice of not debating the other candidates, instead taking the stage alone on Fox News.
I'm not going to have time for retribution. We're going to make this country so successful again. I'm not going to have time for retribution.
DeSantis and Haley largely avoided sustained attacks on the former president.
I think he was the right president at the right time. I agree with a lot of his policies, but his way is not my way.
If Trump is the nominee, it's going to be about January 6th, legal issues, criminal trials. The Democrats and the media would love to run with that.
All of this unfolding just hours after former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie dropped out of the race, criticizing rivals who've refused to call out Trump.
Anyone who is unwilling to say that he is unfit to be president of the United States is unfit themselves to be president of the United States.
Like the Advocate channel on Facebook for the best way to get updated stories that advocate for equality, justice, our rights, and more. AC 24/7 continues with today's top 2 pick.
An interception that probably saved lives on the ground. Ukrainian anti-aircraft guns at work as Russia has drastically escalated its aerial assault. We meet with a mobile air defense unit currently working overtime around Ukraine's capital. It all depends on the weather conditions, the soldier says. If the weather is good, then of course it's much easier to shoot down a drone. At night, especially in fog, it's harder. We react very quickly. The mobile teams don't only use guns, they also have American-made, shoulder-launched surface-to-air missiles taking aim at both Iranian-made Shahed drones and low-flying cruise missiles. The teams move out fast and can set up and fire within minutes. This gun might not look like much, but it is very important for the air defenses, not just here in Kiev, but across the country. And when they get the call, they have to be ready in minutes to move out. The Russians are constantly changing tactics, trying to make their attacks more lethal, making air defense like a chess match, the commander tells me. They used to fly in a single trajectory, he says, but now they're zigzagging. A drone can fly, then circle, hover, go down completely, then rise about half a kilometer, then fly sharply down. They are now very maneuverable and must be seen and destroyed. Now, another massive drone and missile attack killed and wounded scores in various areas of Ukraine. Russia used some of its deadliest and most advanced ballistic, cruise, and hypersonic missiles, Kiev says. Of the 51 missiles launched, they were able to intercept 18, the Air Force says, because they simply don't have enough high-powered Western surface-to-air batteries to cover the whole country. There were a lot of ballistic missiles today, the spokesman says. Such missiles may only be shot down by means such as Patriot systems. That's why the result is such. The mobile air defense units celebrate every missile and drone they manage to hit, while understanding the ones they cannot take down often cause catastrophic carnage. They are trying to hit our energy infrastructure and military infrastructure, the soldier says, but the most painful thing is when they're hitting civilians, houses, kindergartens. This is not in line with the customs of war and not in line with human morality. It is immoral.
Follow the Advocate channel on Twitter and Instagram to stay updated on stories that matter every day. We're now at our number 1 story of the day. Take a look.
The way that the Houthis actually operate in the Red Sea, as well as firing drones at shipping, the ways that they try to board them, as well as trying to use helicopters, they take over small commercial fishing vessels, sort of, 50, 100-foot type vessels. And then they use those as a sort of a mothership for even smaller boats that will then go out and try to board some of these bigger commercial vessels moving through the Red Sea. So you can blind their ability to see the shipping that's coming by hitting the radar sites, which was one of the target packages today. But the actual means with which they go after the shipping is small, harder to hit, and mingles in with regular fishermen who use the regular fishing ports along the coast of Yemen. So this has a possibility to get messy. But clearly the very strong message has been sent. But I think the idea that the Houthis are going to back down and pack up and go away quickly, I don't think that's what we're going to see at this time.
Thanks for watching the Advocate channel's top stories. We're on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Follow, like, and share, or check out advocatechannel.com for even more stories that advocate for you.